asparagus taco, pumpkin, and beet. I'm going to be talking about Criminal Minds. James can add a little bit of spice if he wants to. He's having almond breeze chocolate heated up, and I'm having turmeric latte. And I'm just having the asparagus taco and the beet taco. I'm not having the pumpkin today. But I tried these. I came up with this idea yesterday. I tried these. So
the taco?
Yeah. So they're a little bit different, but the beet one is sweet and sweeter than the rest. So we'll see which one James likes the best.
Now, are they hot? Right?
I brought you water just in case. Before I launch into mine, I guess I better talk about Criminal Minds, because I will get messy in this taco, I think, because you know how tacos are.
You want me to?
Yeah, that's okay. So, Criminal Minds Evolution, this is season 17.
Wow.
And I don't know if I've seen all of the seasons. It's 2024. And there are quite a few people waiting to watch this.
Well, that's even more amazing.
Yeah, it is, because it's really not the greatest show. But the thing is, I can't remember who said it. America loves serial killers, which is not exactly true. But I think we're interested in the psychology and how they manage to not get caught and stuff like that. Because I know we both think about, it's not like we're like, go serial killers. No, not that at all. So to say that we love serial killers, that America loves serial killers, well, that's not exactly correct. And I'm guessing that when whoever said America loves serial killers, I'm guessing that they meant Canadians as well as people in the United States, but I don't know. I know that Canadians love mysteries. It's Murdoch Mysteries is going strong. And more in the United States, they go for the police drama things, more FBI actually than the other things, I think. But in England, they seem to like the police dramas more than the other mysteries. I don't know why that would be.
What other mysteries would you be talking about? Like Magnum PI, where there's a private investigator?
Well, there's that, yeah. But I don't know how popular that is anymore in the United States. I think it's the FBI stuff has really taken over.
Yeah, that's interesting.
For a long time. I mean, it's been since X-Files, which you might say, oh, well, that's not. Yeah, it is. It's FBI stuff. So it's been a long time that Americans.
Were they part of the FBI then? Or?
Yeah, they were.
I forgot about that.
Yeah. So it's been a long time that FBI has trumped private investigators. It used to be that there were a lot of private investigators.
Well, I cringed when you said Trump. I wonder why. Anyway,
I can't use that word anymore.
Yeah, it's a
ruined
dirty word.
forever. Anyway, Criminal Minds. Boy, it's easy to make fun of it because they don't put enough effort into making sure the stories even work. There's one episode on here where there's a woman that, I guess she tattoos herself when she kills someone. So she puts so she carries around this tattoo needle, which is, maybe it's a tribal thing or something that other people are familiar with. When I think tattoo needles, I think the little ones, and then they put a bunch of them together, you know, like beading needle size or whatever, to make so that they put like 5 or something in a group so that then they can draw a thicker thing with a whole bunch of needles. But hers was just one big needle, and I think I've never seen a tattoo thing like that. But it was anyway, that's what she did. And so she was killing people with this tattoo needle too, or maybe not killing them, but poking their eyes out or something. I can't remember. Anyway, it doesn't matter. Anyway, so, which is weird, like to have a serial killer that's a woman anyway. Yeah, woman. But
they usually don't operate that way. It's usually poisoning.
Mm-hmm.
And it's usually for money, not for thrills.
Yeah. So anyway, there's this character. She's a female, which I don't think they feature many, which is smart because the females don't tend to be serial killers. Anyway, but this whole idea, they have a whole group of people that are killing. There are a whole bunch of serial killers. It's like Serial Killer Incorporated or something in this, and it's like, okay, that's stupid.
They're so
and then
rare.
they have they have one guy he's like a coordinator or something like that. So they're all helping each other out, which is like, no, that's not how they operate either. But so it's a very different thing, and it's not really believable anyway. But the main guy who's now been caught, he's not believable as a serial killer. He doesn't seem the part. But anyway, back to the episode, because that's what I'm talking about here. Is this episode that didn't work at all, and it's really not uncommon for this show for things to be that badly written. And along the way, somebody should have said, wait a minute, if she pokes the tire of the vehicle, of the guy's vehicle with her tattooing needle so the air comes out, you can hear the air coming out, and then the guy comes up to her and he holds a gun to her and he's like, I knew you were coming or whatever, and I've been expecting you, get in. Okay, so he's going to drive her, and then the next scene, we've driven all night so that you could bring me here or whatever. And it's like, okay, she popped a hole in the tire, we were hearing the air come out, they got in the vehicle and drove all night? How does that work? That doesn't work at all. So surely somebody along the way would have said, wait a minute, why not have her almost puncturing the tire and him catching her in time or whatever? Because that would have made sense. But with her already deflating the tire, he's not driving all night on that thing.
Well, they should have mentioned
he's not driving at all.
Them stopping to have it patched. But all night.
No, it's ridiculous.
All night garage, eh?
So anyway, and that's what you can expect from this show, is just things that are really obviously not written well. And not even not written well, just written really, really badly.
There's a reason why I love it.
Huh.
You know, and that I love that guy in the middle. They got rid of the Weasley
They
little
did,
guy who
yes.
knew everything, right?
Yeah, well, you like
that guy.
that
He was my favorite
guy.
character.
Okay.
Well, in a corny kind of way.
Well, that's the thing. Like, another thing that I don't like about this show is the round table discussion, where it's obviously just one person, right? They're all continuing, like breaking in the conversation. The next one's picking up where the other one left off, and it's stupid. They don't have as much of that here.
Don't happen
No.
that way. I think it's this. Well, I'm not sure about that. What about this?
But you're not all following each other's thought on the same,
Yeah. Cue.
Anyway,
it's all queued up.
It's all queued up,
It's like
and it's
queued
ridiculous.
up at a really
it's like, oh, we want to look
airport.
like we're all an equal opportunity. We're all shared, and no one person is smarter than the other or whatever. And what it looks like is there's only need for one person. Why do they have all these other people that are? I don't know. There's not enough.
Even when a person's figuring things out in their head, they don't ratiocinate that smoothly.
Yeah.
Going, what? Yeah. Sorry, I interrupted.
No, that's fine. Because, I mean, you're familiar with the show too.
Yeah.
So
I won't say too familiar because I enjoy the corniness. It's one of my favorite corny shows.
Okay. So yeah, it's hard for me to identify with any one of the characters, honestly, because basically they really are the same character. Penelope, the computer person, she's a little bit different. But maybe just maybe superficially different. I don't know. It just doesn't feel, it doesn't ring true when you're watching it at all. And maybe that works for some people. Maybe they don't want it to ring true. Maybe if it's less believable, then they think, oh well, it's just a story. Maybe that works. I don't know. But anyway, I was going to mention that our asparagus is from Mexico. That's what we got from Superstore. And they were talking on the CBC about, no, was it the CBC or was it 660 you were listening to? Well, anyway.
They're both equally
Somebody,
bad.
yeah, they're just different sides of bad.
770's a little worse global.
And James listens to them all. But
Not
today,
avidly,
what was on the
it's
radio
like
on the way to the morning
extreme
hike?
distaste.
He was listening to the radio, and there was a reporter talking about the price of produce, or not the price, of going to the superstore and finding it difficult to get produce from Canada. And it's like, well, yeah, this time of year, fresh produce from Canada is a trick. But everything that James is eating, the beets were from Canada, the pumpkin was from Canada, and everything was sourced from not the United States. Anyway,
What?
the beets were from Canada in the fall. They store a long time. I bought them, I think, just before Christmas for cheap. I think it was, maybe I'm exaggerating, maybe $4 for 10 pounds or something, for a 10-pound bag. It was so cheap.
Well, you haven't
So
been
I bought
storing
quite a
them
few.
upstairs right next to a heat
No.
register or anything like
No.
that. Downstairs, they seem to last long.
Yeah, well, I put these beets in the fridge. They wouldn't have lasted that long
Okay.
without. But oftentimes, if I get things in the winter, I can store them in my back porch on the floor by the door. And if I position things properly, then they'll freeze. They won't freeze, but they'll stay cool. So that works out. But not all things work out there. But anyway, a lot of things, like that pumpkin, it just stored right in the upstairs, you know, the warm area where we were living. That's the longest lived pumpkin I've ever had. I didn't have to cut
It's
that up
actually
for,
been pretty tasty.
yeah. I didn't have
Of
to
course,
cut
you've
that up
been
for long.
putting a variety of spices. It doesn't take a lot of spice to make things spicy for you.
Yeah. So you've now tried each one of the tacos. Which would you say is your favorite?
Well, the favorite was the first one. You had a lot of sauce in it.
Which
asparagus?
one? The asparagus.
Yeah,
That was
it's
my
awesome.
favorite too. I
Awesome,
just
yum.
had this idea. I wonder if
Tasty.
asparagus will work in a taco. Wow. Does it ever?
Yep. Now with the sauce, this would be my second favorite. The pumpkin was a little bit, on sauce on that one. It could have been my favorite too. But it just wasn't, the sauce wasn't special.
Okay.
So
Well, I
each one
use
of them,
different sauces too.
each one of them equally good.
Yep.
Highly recommend it. Beets,
Oh, I'm gonna drink this first, or I'm gonna end up with
Asparagus.
stuff all over my hands. I still have beets all over my hands. So yeah,
asparagus cut up,
Oh.
of course.
Yeah, he likes
if you,
cut up.
well, if you had it in the tacos, you'd break in the tacos up trying to chew a piece of asparagus off.
Well, I like the look of it with the little
Oh, you're going to give
spear
that one a
sticking
try.
out the
There
end.
we
So
go.
that's what I did with mine. We'll see if it works. It might be really messy, and that's okay. I can live with that. So anyway, that's what I would recommend, is just buy your, in the wintertime, Canadians, it's good to eat root crops, root vegetables, and winter squash. That's the base of all of our meals pretty much in the winter, is either winter squash or some sort of a root vegetable like beets.
It's hard to beat beets.
It is.
They're amazing. They're a big cancer fighter. You know, they're, I think, better for you than potatoes and stuff like that. Yams store, but not as well.
They store well. No,
What do
they
you
store
think?
well. I can, like, what I do is I put them on my back porch on the floor, not close to the door because yams are from somewhere warmer. But I put them back at the back of the porch more and spread out on a single layer, and I just fill up my back porch with yams on the bottom of the floor. And so, I don't know. When they go on sale just before Christmas, I buy so many, like maybe $50 worth when they're about 50 cents a pound or something like that. So I get lots of things. But anyway, I would say I didn't agree with what the reporter was saying. Oh, buy frozen vegetables to buy Canadian. Well, I think it's good in the end of winter to eat, like at the beginning of spring, to eat a lot of fresh produce, like asparagus. And yes, this traveled a ways. It traveled from Mexico. And what I'm expecting Trump to do is put a kind of tariff on things crossing through his borders, just to really get us, so that we can't get the produce from Mexico either through rail or trucks, which usually it's trucks now, right?
Yeah.
But
we send oil down east to the United States.
Mhm.
And Danielle Smith, who's a real ditz, did actually figure that out. She was saying, if you start hammering on, she was saying to Doug Ford, don't cut off their hydroelectricity because they could cut off the shipment of oil.
Yeah, but
from
we just need to
Western
ship
Canada, Eastern
differently.
Canada. Yeah, but you can't. We got no pipeline, no alternative pipeline.
Yeah, but through trucks we can. We don't have to ship it through the United States.
Trucks would be, I don't think they'd have nearly the capacity pipeline would have.
Anyway, well, that's interesting that she figured that out too. But so food, we might have to end up shipping with ships again.
Well, big trouble is
Refrigerated ships.
no.
I know
from
it's
Western-
slow, but we're gonna have to do it.
No, it's a long way.
Yeah.
Have to go through the Panama Canal. At least that's not controlled by the United States anymore.
We don't have to go through the Panama Canal for Mexico.
I'm talking about sending oil to Canada,
Oh.
Eastern Canada.
Oh,
You can send it by
no,
tanker.
I'm not talking about oil shipping by ship. Although, I don't know. There might be, we might be able to do it by train pretty easily. I mean, they've been ripping out train lines, but you gotta put back in. I don't know why you were ripping them out.
It's
Dumb.
late to put them back in, but yeah. We only have so much, as they call it, rolling stock
Mhm.
to do it. And it's dangerous. It's dangerous having pipelines. It's dangerous sending stuff by ship. Dangerous sending it by truck.
Yeah. And I remember people talking about how, Japan, they're so foolish growing their own rice because all of California could supply all of Japan easily with what they're growing.
Easily and more cheaply. What?
But this is why it's good to have
Independence.
independence from other
Mhm.
countries.
Guys, I don't know what Donald Trump has in store for Japan. Traditionally something like an American ally. I haven't heard him making ugly noises about that. Frankly, I think I'd find it a little less ugly to hear him emitting gas from the other end of his digestive system.
Oh, so you might be watching and thinking, well, why has Pauling fed James taco shells? I
Why
mean,
not?
corn anyway.
Mm.
But this is an incomplete protein. But the thing is I used to think that, you have to eat the incomplete proteins together. So you get
Same meal as
the
that,
missing amino acid from from the corn in the beans or whatever. But apparently it's just within the same day.
Wow,
So big deal.
that's easy.
Mm-hmm.
Now does the cocoa bean count as a bean? Just
I don't
wondering.
know.
Yeah, I don't know.
That's weird.
We call it a bean, but that just might be a convention.
Mm-hmm.
We call peanuts peanuts, but I don't think they're really nuts.
I think they're a legume, James.
Peanuts?
Mhm.
Well, there we go. So they're not nuts. So the point is, sometimes we have designations for things that don't make scientific sense.
Anyway. Yeah, I like the meat taco.
It's pretty darn good. I took the end that didn't have as much sauce on it.
Mm-hmm.
But I still prefer the asparagus.
Mm-hmm.
So I like the pumpkin, but by comparison with the other two, it's a little mild,
Mm.
even for my. Excuse me.
Good to know. So I did cook the asparagus with garlic to make it more flavorful. Anyway, that's all I have to say today.
I don't have much to say either.
Mm.
It's the usual bad news coming out of the United States.
Mm.
And I understand, folks, you idiots who voted for Donald Trump. You're supporting him. Bad news for the United States. You don't realize it. Sometimes it takes a while for a ship to sink. But, you know, if he keeps doing this, it'll stove in the side, and then you're going to have your little Titanic.
And what are you going to do? Because he'll be fed a line by Trump. Oh, this is some sort of plot to destroy the American economy. Stick with me so I can root them out. All these plotters and planners. The deep state that's ruining the American economy. You watch, folks.
Mm. That's so good.
Putin's already got all those lines lined up. Then people will be line up in the militias. Let's go after the people in the deep state. No more elections.
So, what do I think you should do about your fresh produce situation or produce situation? Victory Garden.
Mm-hmm.
It's
That would
time.
help.
Decide to garden this year.
A lawn is a waste of space.
Mm-hmm.
No, make sure you yourself aren't a waste of space and don't waste space on your lawn. And you did mention Mexico. Get as much produce from Mexico as possible.
Is that all? Do you have anything else? All right.
Mm-hmm.